Alright. Hello and welcome everybody to our second episode of Blabber. Blabbity Blabber.
It actually doesn't have a name yet, right?
It does.
Wait.
I officially named it Art Bros Talk.
Welcome to episode 2 of the Bros Talk. I just learned we have a name.
Yeah, that's because he didn't watch the actual video.
Well, stop it.
Oh, my fault. You don't even know what the description looks like.
No.
I told you to check it, and you didn't.
Yes. Like,
Anyhow.
I have issues with watching myself on
You don't have
camera
to
and
watch
stuff.
it. You asked me about the description. I was like, you haven't seen the description.
Okay, I will.
That's fine. If it helps, your link is the first link.
Okay. Kinda helps. Okay. What are we talking today? We've been talking about this for like what? When did we hear? When did we hear about this first? Like,
you told me about this like a week ago.
yeah, and since then it's been blowing up, right?
After that, I saw it on the news.
And everyone's like talking about it nowadays.
Yeah, a lot of people are talking about it. It was like you could see it coming. Like I've been in all the media that I consume, I could slowly see something like.
And I've been talking to you that this was gonna happen.
Yeah.
In a month. Yes,
Yeah.
it's about AI. It's the news, guys. Like how many days ago? Like less than a week ago, a dude won a fine arts contest with a fully AI print.
Yes. So I was checking out what the Washington Post had wrote about that, and basically he won first place on the category of something. What is it? Digitally manipulated photography.
Yep, that's something that not many people cover because
Yeah. A lot of people were saying, "Oh, this guy won an art contest with an AI painting."
that's wrong.
They didn't say that is factually incorrect.
Because if they did, they would lose all the clickbait.
Yes. So for starters, this was digitally manipulated photography. But a lot of people did fully digital paintings. But according to the Washington Post, the rules were basically you have to use technology in some way to alter the image. It
Yes,
could be an image.
we were arguing for like hours, like how could it be possible that a fine arts contest would allow a fully AI manipulated image without properly checking like the background of the artist? Because we know about fine art contests, like we have friends who have been into many fine art contests, like even our mom is in
Yeah.
fine art contests.
Another thing that most people don't mention is this was a very small thing. The first prize got $300.
Yes.
I wouldn't be caught dead participating in a contest for $300.
At this point.
But it does make sense that why the rules were so simple. It wasn't like a huge. It doesn't seem like it was a huge. Like the rules were like just alter something with a computer and present it.
But even then, I still want to get back to that original argument we had days ago when we thought it was a fine arts
Yes.
contest.
So I wanted to talk about this, but I didn't really care much about contest itself. It's the idea of AI
Yes.
making art.
Yes, it's been
bothering us a little.
Yes,
for
yes.
a while.
Well, it started with NFTs. When the NFT craze popped up, tons of AI art started popping out, like auto-generated, randomly generated, or like whatever small thing generated, sequential art also. And then suddenly, like a few months ago, DALL-E popped up. Do you know DALL-E? DALL-E is it's a web browser extension. No, it's not even an extension. I'm not entirely sure to how to define it, but it works on a website. You write a prompt, it pops up a simple image. It's not the full powered version, but everyone's been using it to make memes.
There's a bunch of others too. This guy used Journey.
Yes.
Journey.
I personally dread it because of what it represents, and it keeps climbing up.
There's a lot going on with this whole, like, it's a very complicated situation, because a lot of people see it as artists get mad that a computer can do the same as them. Other people see it as non-artists cheating at art. But it's very complicated.
Where do we start?
How about what does AI art mean? Like, in my eyes, why it's dangerous is because I can easily see this as a thing that will become leverage to take away from the value of art in general. You know, like, when will you start hearing the argument of your stuff shouldn't cost that much, a computer can do it better? You know?
Yes, that argument can pop up, but at the same time, it popped up with photography, you know?
It did, but I feel like the people that are comparing this to photography are overlooking the artistry of photography. It's like, sure, you've mostly lost the whole
manufacture process.
Yeah, the whole angle of developing the image. Because it used to be, you know, you have to take the picture and then you have to develop it. Method, what chemicals, in what way you develop it, you know.
Oh, you mean digital photography?
Yeah, digital photography has taken away from old-fashioned photography. And old-fashioned photography at one point was like, oh, you know, why would you paint photography?
No, that's what I was talking about. When photography first popped up, they said that it would replace painting, or I bet artists were getting worried. But like, it didn't happen.
No, because now that it's a developed form of art, you can clearly see the difference, like, not just visually, but like, you understand the difference between a picture and a painting. There's tons of it. Picture and a painting.
So right now we are in a spot in which AI developed images are not classified, and they are like roaming around, dealing with photography, dealing with fine arts. Like, people are replacing what would be somebody's work with a
because as opposed to, like, there was painting, there was drawing, then there was photography, and then there was CGI generated image, right? But these are all very different things, where AI generated images are trying to copy them. It's not just like, oh, you know, painters were just trying to copy real life images that then, you know, and say, some people will say, oh, you know, painting is just trying to copy photography. But AI is literally trying to copy photography, painting, and that can turn into a problem when the people that pay artists start going, why don't I just use the free AI to make something that's just like a painting photo?
Yes. People will make that argument, and people will probably make the switch. Like, for example, books in the 70s were all illustrated, like old book covers, old magazines. I don't know if the 70s. No, I'm off. Probably earlier 50s.
Maybe, probably.
Photography replaced all of that. Now probably AI.
It's gonna,
It's gonna take part in the market, but I don't really think it's gonna make everyone else disappear, lose their job. It's not gonna happen. Like people people some people go to art for a connection with someone and what they do, and some people will prefer like handmade jobs. Like I have friends who still do oil painting on commission, so that still exists. There's no way why art as we know right now would change dramatically because of AI.
Well, the part that worries me is that, you know, there's fine arts. No one's gonna mess with fine arts in the same way it's been for a long time.
Dude, fine arts is such a weird place. Like I know some fine artists that are just they develop ideas, they write a long as text, and then they hire from 1 to 10 people to do it. They don't develop their work, and AI will probably take those guys' job. The guys who worked for the artists.
Well, I'm actually more worried with the people that I'm really worried for, that I've been worried for, is the people who do what I call commercial art. You know? I feel like those people are a danger to their jobs. Because we're talking about the art that
Goes in a board game.
not just that, like the art that goes, all the art that goes in a book that is not about art, all the art for concept for movies, shows, all the art to put on a cereal box, all the art that no one looks at as art, that was made by an artist. I feel like that,
Like publicity used to be.
yeah.
Like short story. Back in the 80s, our granddad used to work at a publicity firm, and they would do all banners, posters by hand. They would draw letters, cut letters, paste lettering, lots of glue, lots of colored papers, lots of design, lots of hours spent. Computer arrived, those offices changed permanently, laid down tons of people, and downsized and became even more efficient because of computers. Like I can see a publicity agency just saying, you know what, this computer, I just write stuff and pick a picture.
So, what I like an argument that I keep from everyone is that the people who defend AI art have the angle of this is just a tool like everything else, right? This is not being made as a tool. This is being made as a replacement, just like it happened to those people that worked with old-fashioned printers. They got replaced, and I feel like this is the way, the direction that it's being made in. It's going to replace someone. Someone's job is going to be replaced.
Yep.
Once it's trained enough, people are going to grab it, fire a bunch of people, and use it. Because it doesn't cost it. And it can do the job in the eyes of the people who pay for it.
Yep. For example, I saw this, like, I don't remember which producer it was. I'm talking about a music producer now. He said back when he first saw the drum machines, I'm talking about a machine that had drum sounds, and you could push a button and it would play the drum sound. He saw this machine and he said, oh my god, in 50 years musicians are gonna be out. What happened is that if you look at now, I know hundreds of producers, 5 drummers. Like, to work with a drummer, you need time, you need space, you need like you need to pay them. So you would rather do it yourself, do it with a computer. It's way cheaper, way more comfortable. But those jobs didn't disappear.
Yeah,
like
I was thinking about that.
Like when you want a real drum sound, you're gonna go to a drummer because people can tell the difference. I hope that people will learn to tell the difference between AI generated art But the issue is that fine arts, digital illustrators, painters have been painting like the AI now. Like, you don't see often people who does stuff so amazing that you look at it and say there's no way AI is gonna get to that point, or at least not now. For example, comic book cover artists, those guys are monsters.
Mm-hmm.
Like old painters, Renaissance, like those guys were monsters. But I can see the AI copying. You remember Monet and San? What was Impressionist?
Impressionist? Oh, easily.
Yes, when there's little defined shapes and tons of color, like AI just does that easy. But we both have been using. It's not picking it up, but if I talk, it will pick it up. And cut this part off, like our neighbor. Fuck that dude.
Fuck our neighbor.
Yeah, he runs like a garage and fixes bikes, and he has like a whole fleet of bikes. God damn it. Well, anyhow, what I was saying is that we both have been using those shortcuts that have been brought to us. Like, for example, I use tons of pre-recorded sounds called samples to produce music. Like, if you hear me working with a chorus or violins or horns, I don't have space, time, or resources to use the natural instruments. Or, like, for example, your shortcuts. What would you say about them?
I copy and paste a lot of my stuff. Even if it's just sketches, sometimes if I'm gonna draw the same helmet in two different panels, why draw it again?
Would you use AI generated art?
No.
Not at all?
No.
Not even if it did the background for you? Not even if it did a random forest?
No. I try to be open-minded about a lot of stuff. Outwardly. But I am deeply insulted very easily.
Really?
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit more about that? Because, like, I bet everyone that's rage is insulted. We want to know the source of the rage.
I feel like anyone who's like, I feel like there will be people start calling themselves AI artists.
Okay.
And the idea that that is going to be a thing that's going to happen kills me inside. And because it kills me inside, it makes me want to commit murder.
No, stop it. We're not... The signal just went off. You're not supposed to say murder in the internet.
It makes me want to commit unliving.
I'm living
on others.
You want to?
Yes.
You want to?
I want to unalive people.
I want to unalive.
Yeah. People say that now. A lot of people say that because of that, which is funny.
Damn.
The problem is that I was thinking before about how things like AI and pre-recorded stuff and assets like that have affected music deeply. But like you said, a lot of people will still use the analog stuff, the old-fashioned stuff. Some people seek out the old equipment like you do. Some people seek out that old sound, that old... But you need people who care, right?
And people can tell the difference.
Yeah. A lot of people can tell the difference, but that also depends on your specific field of work. If someone wants a song for a commercial, the person looking for it does not give a fuck.
No, they don't care.
If someone's looking to hire someone to make a tie-in comic book for a TV show or a movie or whatever, they don't give a fuck. That's why so many comic books that are tie-ins to other stuff look like absolute garbage. So many people don't care and are in such high position that the idea that this AI has been developed to make the lives of these people that don't care easier at not caring pisses me off, bothers me, bugs me. I know that at some point it's going to be a problem for tons of people. Maybe even me. I don't know. Maybe someone I know. I know a bunch of people.
They're the glimpses of why he's called Rage.
It's like a lot of people are always like, oh, it won't be a problem. These things are not gonna go away because people don't care. So many people don't care as much as others think. Think of all the franchises, TV, movies, comic books, video games. Think of all the franchises that so many people care about that get destroyed by people who don't give a fuck. I easily see the same people destroying them even more by using pre-recorded assets, AI drawn assets.
Like, for example, guys, did you know that Capcom, the big ass developers, Capcom, got into a massive lawsuit because some of their filtered files, they got hacked and some files were leaked. Some of their leaked files pointed that Capcom had been using for years a book with photography references from castles in Italy. They used the photography references as like assets to paste all over the surfaces in many Resident Evil games. Like, you can look for the lawsuit online. You just type Capcom lawsuit and that pops up. Capcom used hundreds of images from a lady who traveled all the way to Italy she's not from Italy, that's as far as I remember, took hundreds of pictures, and Capcom just stole the pictures, didn't say anything, put them all over Resident Evil 4. Like, even the logo of Resident Evil 4 has a photo of that lady, yes, the logo. And that lady just filed a lawsuit with 1,500 examples of surfaces.
Just straight up plagiarism.
Yes, and Capcom just...
We are talking about the same company that used stock fonts for the logo of
Street Fighter 6. That was so
You know how everyone got
bullshit.
pissed, including me, and insulted that they turned such an iconic logo and just used some basic bitch-ass stock image.
They actually bought a stock logo from Adobe stock.
Get ready to drown in that.
Dude, Adobe stock is gonna die.
Get ready to drown in it.
Who would use Adobe stock if you can type a prompt and get an image? Like,
get ready for many people typing prompts. I wanted to talk more about the competition itself because I read so many things that infuriated me. So many comparisons that pissed me off.
Throw them away fast.
But I'm gonna be honest. It almost doesn't deserve my time. The problem is so much bigger than this competition.
Yes.
The competition is just sort of like a slightly brighter star in a universe of shit that is just this topic.
But still, read some. You can do it.
I was just glancing, reading fragments of the entire post, the Washington Post article on it, and it sort of baffled me how all the comparisons for they detract in my mind. They detract from the artistic process. Like, all these people saying, oh, this guy was typing for 80 hours looking for the right image, when some of the entries took 15 hours to make. But that is not a good comparison. That is not a comparison, because this guy spent 80 hours Googling effectively. That is a good comparison for the right image, which then took some time to tweak. That's another thing they didn't say about it. He actually had to tweak the image digitally on Photoshop or whatever program he actually had to tweak the image. But those 80 hours are not spent. Those are the 80 hours that you would spend as an artist looking for reference images. That is not part of your actual artistic process of making the piece of art. The making of the piece of art was when he finally found that image. A second, when he finally found that image. That is not the right comparison to be. And this article is just full of people making comparisons and just spewing just this artistic blabber that he and I know so well because we know art critics and we've seen them talk and talk and talk about the artistry of pieces that behind closed doors they fucking hate.
We're not gonna say names.
We're not gonna say any names.
But
we've literally talked to art critics who were the ones presenting.
That's their job.
Presenting someone's exhibit, talking about it.
How much time did he talk?
Feeling, and he talked about almost every single piece out of 20 pieces. It was like an hour and a half thing. And then he turned around at dinner and said, "Man, that was shit."
I just remember that, dude.
And I just read the comments of artists, and I'm like, wow, look at all this artistic blabber that you're spewing. That means jack shit. It means nothing.
Because you guys gotta realize the world of art is divided in lots of, let's call it, spheres. There's illustration, comic book, there's art for sale, there's commission, then there's this weird world called the fine arts, in which nowadays people present really strange objects and try to tie them with like a conceptual text that explains their brain trip to develop those weird objects. Like our world is strange.
It is. You can tell some of these quotes are, they literally didn't put that much thought into it, because one of the quotes is like, the viewer is the ultimate artist, because they are the ones creating through their eyes. In the context of talking about art pieces, that takes away everything from the pieces. In saying that the viewer is the like, artist is subjective, absolutely. The viewer puts its own spin and its own emotions into the piece. But saying that the real artist is the viewer, you're either a terrible artist,
or you don't value art at all.
or you don't value art.
Because that means that you could go to the park and you would be creating the ultimate art just looking at a tree. Yep, this is a complex world, and these years keeps getting stranger, but it's good. Renovation, creation, innovation is good. It just takes time to settle.
It does. All of these things eventually will find a spot, space in the world, and there are so many artists out there that will not let art die. And there are things that AI can still not do. Don't make a comic book unless it's really shitty comic
we
book.
talked about that. What happens when AI starts writing stories?
AI does. There's AI writing programs. This same issue doesn't happen there because they write. Like, they can write sentences and stories that are coherent but don't make any sense. No, in the sense that, it'll have a character go through a journey. The journey won't make any sense. It's like a fever dream at one point. Like,
AI can write fever dreams.
there's a really good video about. There's a really good corridor digital video where they have an AI write a script and they use mocap to act it. They basically have the AI write Avatar 2. It's genius. The dialogue is sublime. You'll see it and you'll understand why no one's worried about AI writing.
For now.
Well, because there's a lot of exact science that goes.
Don't worry, man.
Writing.
Some dude out there is writing the perfect AI to write scripts.
But like, that's the reason why AI visual imagery ahead of AI writing. There's too much subtext inside precision.
By the way, AI music has been out there for a while.
Yeah, but it's weird.
Yes, it's totally weird. Like there's a channel in YouTube that runs a 24/7 stream of an AI doing metal music. It gets weird.
Visual art is subjective, so literally, as long as the AI can match colors, got it. It's got it. Why it's so much I hate killer.
Well, closing arguments. Are we worried?
I hate AI,
AI is cool.
and I am worried.
You cannot stop progress.
But you can't stop progress.
You can't
And-
stop progress.
I'm not gonna get mad at anyone for using it, but I don't like it.
To each their own, like
To
they
each their
say.
own. Yeah, pretty much.
As long as people don't use AI to sneak into other categories, it's fine.
As long as you don't actually cheat with it.
Yeah.
This guy didn't technically cheat at all.
We were mad because we thought he cheated.
We did think it cheated because, that's where
The
narrative
news.
is and the, yeah.
Be very careful with the news because the clickbait was like artists into fine arts contest. That wasn't it.
Also, all the people that I've seen talking about this on Twitter, and there's like the two sides. God, it's so stupid.
Dude,
The false comparisons are so bad.
I only use Twitter to upload like screenshots from my Nintendo Switch. It's the best use for Twitter.
I mostly use Twitter because you gotta be in as many places as you can, and I know some people that are not at all active on on like any other place. Some people don't even have any other place.
Wait, we're out of time. Stop it. We'll talk about social media some other day. That might be a good topic. What was it like? We were like half an hour in, so might as well cut it. So, good to see you guys. What day is it today? September. We recorded
we're
September
recording
2nd.
September 2nd. I was thinking about it. I think I'm gonna go ahead and just like use my Twitch outro. Because I sort of like landed on an outro. Just haven't streamed it in like 5 months. Thank you all so much for hanging out, keeping us company, and all that stuff. I really do appreciate it every single time. Special shout out to all my patrons.
I don't have patrons.
He doesn't have any yet, but he does have a patron.
It's sad.
Hey, if you want to support me and Patreon, help us get a better camera and a better microphone for him, that would be great. The link will be below with a bunch of other links, website, webtoon, bunch of other stuff. But yeah, I appreciate you guys stopping by, and see you on episode number 3.
Officially, leave your comments with questions. We'll be answering them.
Yes.
So, see you next time.